the Scythian Blood Ritual across the vast, unforgiving steppes, where winds whispered secrets through tall grasses and ancient Kurgan burial mounds dotted the horizon, lived the Scythians, fierce horse-riding warriors, masters of the bow, and adherents to brutal ancient customs. Among their many fearsome traditions, one stood above all in its chilling renown: the Scythian Blood Ritual. This was not merely a ceremonial act of sacrifice, but a binding pact meant to solidify alliances and exact vengeance. However, few knew the full, terrifying truth of its enduring curse. Our story begins with Kaelen, a young Scythian warrior haunted by a past he couldn't escape. Years ago, his nomadic clan had been decimated by a rival tribe led by the ruthless chieftain, Volkov. Kaelen was one of the few survivors carrying the scars of that betrayal and a burning desire for vengeance. Driven by this singular purpose, he sought out the most powerful shamans, poring over ancient scrolls and listening to hushed legends of the blood oath of the Skyfather, a ritual whispered to be unbreakable and capable of delivering absolute retribution. The shaman confirmed Kaelen's fears. The ritual was real, deadly, and permanent. It involved not only the ritualistic drawing of blood from all participants and its mixture in a sacred cup, but also the swearing of an oath to the Skyfather Tengri, binding the participants to its terms. If the oath was broken, the blood itself would turn against the betrayer, twisting their very essence. Kaelen, undeterred by the warnings, gathered a small band of loyal, equally vengeful warriors. They performed the ritual, their blood mingling in a bronze chalice, each swearing vengeance upon Volkov and his tribe, vowing to leave none alive. Their campaign was swift and brutal. Kaelen and his warriors, driven by the oath's fervor, hunted Volkov relentlessly across the plains. After months of relentless pursuit, they finally cornered Volkov's dwindling tribe. In a climactic battle, Kaelen personally struck down Volkov, completing their bloody vengeance. The oath was fulfilled, or so they thought. But as the dust settled, an unsettling change began. Kaelen and his surviving warriors found themselves unable to sheathe their swords, unable to quell the rage that had fueled their quest. The thirst for battle, once a means to an end, now became an insatiable hunger. Their eyes, once reflecting human emotion, began to glow with a chilling, predatory light. The blood within them, once a symbol of unity and vengeance, had become a perpetual wellspring of unbridled ferocity. They slaughtered more tribes, not for vengeance, but for the sheer sake of battle. They were becoming mindless engines of destruction, their humanity slowly eroding with each new act of violence. Kaelen slowly realized the horrifying truth of the Scythian blood ritual. The oath was not merely for vengeance. It was a pact for a specific act of violence. By extending their bloodlust beyond Volkov's tribe, they had subtly broken the spirit of the oath, transforming the very essence of the ritual from a tool of justice into a self-perpetuating curse. The Skyfather had not punished them for betrayal, but for the continuation of bloodshed beyond the sworn vengeance. Their blood, once consecrated, now compelled them to unending violence, turning them into monstrous, blood-crazed berserkers, unable to find peace or rest. They were the very embodiment of the unending conflict they had unleashed. Driven by a sliver of his former humanity and a desperate need to break free from this horrifying transformation, Kaelen knew he had to stop. He sought out the same shaman who had warned him. The shaman, seeing the monstrous change in Kaelen's eyes, revealed the terrible paradox. The oath could only be broken by an act that completely defied its violent nature, an act of profound, unconditional peace and self-sacrifice, willingly chosen by one of the oath-takers. Kaelen understood. He gathered his cursed warriors, now barely recognizable as men, and led them not to battle, but to the sacred site where they had first sworn their oath. There, with the shaman as his witness, Kaelen laid down his weapons. With his last vestiges of humanity, he performed a final ritual, not of blood, but of purification. Drawing forth the corrupted blood from his own body, offering it back to the earth as a sacrifice for peace. A plea for forgiveness for the boundless violence they had unleashed. As his corrupted blood seeped into the earth, a profound calm settled over Kaelen. The berserker rage finally receded. His eyes regained their human spark. He collapsed, utterly spent, his sacrifice a desperate gamble for the others. His warriors, witnessing his selfless act, felt the curse lift from them. The thirst for blood vanished, replaced by a deep, aching sorrow for the atrocities they had committed. The curse of the Scythian blood ritual was broken, not by more violence, but by its complete rejection. Kaelen did not survive the purification, his body too ravaged by the curse. His warriors, however, were freed. They abandoned their nomadic ways, settling a small, peaceful village, dedicating their lives to healing and rebuilding, forever haunted by the memory of the rage that had almost consumed them. And to this day, among the scattered remnants of Scythian lore, whispers of the Sky Father's fierce retribution serve as a chilling reminder. An oath of blood, once sworn, demands precise fulfillment. For the curse of unending vengeance can consume the very soul of the one who wields it.